Okay. Hit the light for us.
Yep.
Welcome to an original late night podcast.
Hey, everybody.
Hopefully, everybody's feeling good. Happy New Year to those who are still celebrating.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
But we should always be celebrating though. Yeah, we should never stop celebrating. Life is a celebration in and of itself. Um, don't get too carried away.
When is the year no longer new?
That's kind of what I'm saying. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like I guess once you've established kind of what it means to you, it doesn't have to be in words. It could just even be, you know, what season it is. And you're just continuing. It could be a continuation from last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like part two. Or it could be a completely different space. So I think it just depends on, you know, where you find yourself. But I guess, like they say, like kind of once you locate yourself, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you can proceed. Um, Business as usual, if you want to look at it that way.
I think that's a good answer. If we're talking about self, but at what point do we stop saying that to other people?
You mean like just Happy New Year?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you haven't seen them or talked to them more so, then you can say it whenever that happens. But I feel like January is still fair ground.
Okay.
Like it could be the end of January. I could still see that being like
Normal.
a jovial statement.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I
What y'all
mean,
think?
February. I would even say maybe early February. Like it's still the new year. Like you could wish somebody blessings in this year.
Yeah.
Maybe not Happy New Year, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what do y'all think? Is it is January
Too late?
is late January too late to say Happy New Year? Put that in the comments. But yeah, so how you
Let's,
feel?
okay. Let's get into it.
How are you feeling tonight, today, this year?
I'm good, but I guess today I was really just thinking like, oh wow, at a certain point, you really just have to believe in yourself because otherwise, if you don't, how else will we be able to see ourselves
Mm-hmm.
clear enough to where we can go forward happily, even if like everything is not perfect externally
Mm-hmm.
and you feeling like you yourself. Obviously, we're not perfect human beings,
Yeah.
but sometimes we don't believe in ourselves or that we can do a thing or that we're qualified to do something because we are looking at the parts of us that are flawed
Yeah.
and we're attributing that to like just not believing in ourselves, and that can hinder us from like going forward.
Yeah. It's really good. I agree 100%. And I feel like with what you're saying, like believing in yourself or even just to believe in general is I would say to receive a gift, but essentially to walk in your gift or walk in the gift, you know,
Yeah.
because I feel like with what you're saying, I mean, your confidence grows, I feel like, when you believe and essentially you're walking in your gift. But
Yeah.
if you're all over the place, if you don't know, what it is that you should be doing or what your purpose is, or, if externally you're allowing circumstances or, the world or media to tell you kind of what you should be doing or what you should be interested in. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there might be bits and pieces of it that are true or that might apply to you. But if you haven't for yourself located, you know, what your purpose is, I mean, locating you, not just your ego, but even what you're about, what you believe in. I feel like, and even what you're good at, but even more so what's purposeful, as far as how what you believe in, what you're good at connects with how you want to impact the world through that,
Yes.
then you're not walking in your gift. You're not able to. You wouldn't be confident enough to even execute that, you know.
Exactly.
And essentially, I feel like the gift even is life. So you're not even really truly living
Mm-hmm.
to me,
And I'm glad you used the word good before I asked you how you're doing.
Hmm.
Because I do want to add to the statement too. The other side of the thought also stems from, especially when you know you're in a position of vulnerability, like, for example, it could be in a workspace or it could be in a relationship, even.
Hmm.
Like, you have to believe in yourself even to be in those spaces, because those are two examples of spaces where you're you're vulnerable with those people, so they can see you, and sometimes they can even read you like a little bit.
Yeah.
So even though we might be like trying to keep it together or trying to operate a certain way, because spaces like that are so intimate, it's like if you don't come back to yourself or locate yourself, like you said, and
Hmm.
just like believe in yourself, believe the good about yourself,
Hmm.
um, in not doing that, that can put you in a space to where you feel like you're all over the place, and you know you you're trying to move forward or you're trying to do things, but it's a tougher spot to be in, to not believe the good about yourself and not know that or remember that, especially when you're in the midst of more vulnerable or like intimate spaces.
Yeah. Um, I have something to add, but what's an example of like that type of vulnerable space?
Vulnerable space could be, for example, um, I don't know, let's say you get into a new position, everybody knows this this is a new thing. Maybe they don't know it's
Like
if
a
it's a
job or like what do you?
yeah, like
Okay.
we could use a job as an example.
Just for the listeners and me, so I
Mhm.
can like really apply what you're saying to follow, like, to really picture it. But yeah, well, I was gonna say to as far as belief and believing is concerned, I mean, I feel like that's what it takes to even push like the limits or the parameters of, I'll say your skill level, or even just what it could be your character, it could be, even just ultimately to increase your confidence, but like you wouldn't even know that, oh, I can confidently walk in that, or oh, I can confidently be in such an intimate space, or you know
Mhm.
where there might be judgment, scrutiny, pressure, and you can still function and operate at the highest level because like you practice doing that. You practice pushing those parameters. But if you don't, when you get in that space, it could be a great opportunity, but there still might be pressure.
Yeah.
It could be a loving environment, but there still might be judgment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or an environment of love.
Mhm.
But essentially, if you don't practice believing, practice belief, practice walking in your gift, you I feel like you have the capacity or the potential to shrink in those moments rather than like
Yeah.
really, even surprise yourself. But you wouldn't be surprising yourself because if you believe, like it's really just like on the other side of it is joy because like it's proven again that you didn't believe for no reason. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, but that makes sense. But that's good though. It's really good. You got
Mhm.
anything else to add to that?
Oh, the example. I mean, you asked to kind of make it give an example for the listeners. So a job is a good example. I mean, you're new on the job.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, the people who are already in that space, they may or may not know how new you are. For
Yeah.
example, like what skills you do or don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an intimate space to where you're coming in that as the new person, you you may already feel confident, or you may be a little bit nervous
Yeah.
to execute the task. And the people on the outside, of course, they're kind of like, you're the new person. They're watching your every move. They're seeing how you do stuff. Their eyes are on you. So in a space like that, those people can kind of read how confident you are coming into that new space.
Yeah.
And so, like, for you though, you showing up is, you have to remember, like, oh, I have to believe in myself. First of all, I got the job. So not only can I be here, I have to remember those good qualities that landed me here, and not allow, like, knowing that even if I do mess up on the job, or if I show up late, that I'm not going to allow um certain factors to impact, like, me being able to, like you said, just perform the task on the highest level.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, I'm late. All the coworkers are standing around, they're asking me why I was late, or they're asking me, oh, you was late, are you working extra hour? I don't like, it just translates into all these things, because now
No,
they're
I get
like,
what you're saying.
oh, you showed up late. That's 30 minutes. I know we get paid X amount of dollars an hour.
Yeah.
Now it's turning into like they know your pockets because you late, and they looking at what type of car you drive. Like, it just,
Yeah.
that's can be a form of an intimate space, but to believe in yourself is to know that you might have read me a little bit. You might even know what I get paid by the hour, but I believe I'm a good employee. I believe I can add value to this place. Um,
I mean, even with what you said, I mean, you just said, those things that, got you or landed you the job, that it might, I guess, be your skill set or your strengths. It could even just be also you believing in that thing that led you to the job, that thing that led you to apply. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
even that deeper, more intrinsic,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is that said, hey, obviously a lot of people might just associate that with needing money, but it's still like, why did you choose that direction? Why did you choose that option? You know what I mean? Why did you choose to pick up the phone or get on, you know, the internet and search at that time? Like what led you?
Yeah.
So even going back to that moment, sometimes I think is what we forget even. And sometimes that's all it takes, tapping into that to push ourselves to just follow through and believe in something that might, I guess, just reflect back to us who we really are. You know what I mean? What potential we really possess.
Yeah.
But if we skip over like the belief that you're talking about, we would just only be able to define it by our surroundings, you know.
Yeah. So,
So
like I said, I'm good. That's just on my mind. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to I have some stuff to throw out there. I think it'll start a good conversation. And it's some good thoughts I think that might be in the midst of the conversation that the listeners can take. So I'm good. I'm excited. I think we start the year off right with this one. Um,
This our first podcast of this year? Or am I
is that for the
tripping?
listeners or?
Yeah, it's for me and
is
for us both.
Nah, it definitely is. It's only the fourth, so
Oh,
yeah, it definitely is. But
gotta
I do
set the
believe,
tone.
yeah, it's gonna be a good year. It's gonna be a good episode too. So I'm good. Thank you for asking. Hopefully, listeners, yeah, everybody is also had a great day and maybe being productive tonight. Or if you're listening to this by the time we put it out, um, share it with somebody and always have a pencil, pen, your phone, whatever ready. Take notes. There's that too. Okay, so the question is, and this is for you, for me, the listeners, and it's just kind of something to think about, but obviously I want us to talk about it. What does it truly mean to know what God has kept you from? If that makes sense. And it's like, to know basically that He's had His hand on you,
Can you repeat it one more time for us?
of course. What does it truly mean to know what God has kept you from, knowing that He's had His hand on you, essentially.
What
Like, what
does
does
it
that mean
mean?
to you? Like, or what does it mean? You can answer however you feel. But I'm basically, this question kind of just came from, obviously a conversation we had, but we didn't go down this path necessarily with it. But it's kind of like just to sit and reflect or even realize in this moment that God has kept you. You know, He's had His hand on you. Like, He's kept you from whatever XYZ. So for me, it's like, I mean, it means everything. Not to be cliche, but it's very uh it's eye opening. I think it's empowering, and it's um I mean, obviously it moves me to just even want to be better and want to know more of Him and who He is, so that I'm able to know why He's kept His hand on me, to why He's kept me from things, why He's protected me. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess, to even just know, like, there probably could have been times where, you know, it didn't have to go as good as it did, or it could have gone worse, you know. So just considering my own life, my own thoughts, my own experiences is like, I mean, it definitely means everything, you know.
Yeah, that's good. And I don't want to be that student that steals the answer, because the answer is the same. But I like that you said eye opening,
Mm,
and I feel like that's what it means to me. It is very eye opening because I feel like it's a realization that you come into, and once you see that, like you said, it I think it really opens up this journey to embark upon why He has kept you. Like, what is it about my life, or what I'm called to do, or how great my purpose is,
yeah,
that He would keep me in such a way, especially, like you said, just looking back, on past experiences, and things definitely could have gone a certain way. And when you realize that it didn't, or that you did come out on the other side of it, and not just came out, but you did come out stronger. You did come out a little wiser. Um, I think that is a huge key, because again, the eye opening really is the catalyst to the the start of really seeking that true purpose, and like getting in connection and relationship with Him,
yeah,
so you can like truly know.
yeah. I think also to add to what you're saying, like, when you have, especially for me, like, when you have a moment where I'm not gonna say where you are humble. It could be a moment where you've been humble, but just humility, having humility kind of allows you in those eye-opening moments to realize, like, that you've been brought to this moment. Like, sometimes we take for granted, like, that we're here. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm sure I do it often, like, because it's just a thing that we're just so accustomed to at this point. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
life. You wake up, you do some of the same things you did yesterday, if not a lot of the same things you did yesterday. You put off things. You do what you're comfortable doing. You know what I mean? You might try to push yourself to do something you should have been did, or something that you might even have, some some fear about doing. So even that leads me into saying, like, I think human beings, we as people, we definitely, if not dealing with fear, a lot of fear, more so, we might not look at it that way, but I feel like what we do is we try to take matters into our own hands. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, not to, I don't want to say this in a way where I'm like disrespecting somebody, but it's like we do almost try to take the credit for like what it is that we're doing. And it's like, but when you find yourself in that moment of just being humbled, or, operating out of humility, even if it's just for a split second, and you might think to yourself and realize, like, wow, like, God is good. Like, not me figuring this whole thing out and, keeping it together, or bringing myself to this moment. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what the question kind of brings me back to as well. Like, what does it mean, to know what God has kept me from and know that He's kept me, had His hand on me? It's like, I mean, it's just even me realizing, like, wow, like it's not really my doing. You know what I mean? I might have
Yeah.
made some good decisions here and there, but for the most part, and that's even taking credit, like, quote unquote, for the most part, but it's really no God. Like, He really has had His hand on me. And to your point of just how great is your purpose, um, it's almost even to know like what is His purpose that He even embedded that in you. He embedded that in me.
Yeah.
He embedded that in you, listeners, like the people.
Yeah.
So
And I was about to say I'm glad you said that, but I think I'll be on a streak with saying that.
say
I'm glad you said that
it.
because um I was literally having a thought earlier about life, and the thought to myself was, I'm saying thought to myself, I was talking to myself,
Good.
but we did talk about that. Gotta talk to yourself. Check it out a couple podcasts ago. um but just the simple fact that I was like, wow, I sometimes am in my own world feeling like I quote unquote like I can't be touched.
Hmm.
Like even though things have happened
Hmm.
in my life, or I've experienced things in my life, it still in some ways have really just felt like, hmm, like, okay, that's clearly that's like not
Can
gonna
I
happen.
can I like
Yeah.
sidebar? I'm not speaking for her, guys, but obviously we've all like physically, emotionally, mentally, you know, we've all experienced, you know, some sort of disappointment, hurt, pain.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, to even get to the place where you can even express, like, I can't be touched, knowing that, like, God has you spiritually, first and foremost. And that does, I feel like, even lead us into, what did you say? The physical and everything, too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you have to be able to know that, like, in your spirit, though, you know?
Exactly.
But
But what I'm saying is, in having the thought earlier,
yeah.
I to what the conversation we're having right now, I literally, after I came out of that thought, it was translated into, because that was God keeping me.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, whereas in the other moments, it was kind of just like, well, yeah, like I know that happened, but like, I mean, keep going here, like,
yeah,
like what, whatever. We'll deal with it accordingly. But again, just humbly coming back to it, like, oh, okay, no, that was Him keeping me.
yeah,
Like, it wasn't. Some people kind of just say like, oh, look at you, like you went through it and you pushed through and you came out on the other side of it. And yeah, if we want to take the credit for how we came out of it or got through it, if we want to take the credit, but God was really keeping us
yeah.
even in the midst of it all. Like,
I'm just laughing because you're trying to stare at me and it's dark up in here.
that's just, you know,
Yeah,
it's just, when you realize it, it does. It makes it that much more real.
yeah, yeah. Nah, that's for sure. I think, you know, another question, I guess another layer to that would be, I mean, we kind of went over that, but like, how it makes us feel personally. I think we kind of touched on that, but I guess again, just to kind of clarify, I mean, yeah, like it means everything to me, but it definitely makes me feel personally like kind of similar to what you just said, as far as like making you wonder, like, how great is your purpose? Like, what is, the purpose He has for you? Like, for me, I guess I might word that like, what is my destiny? You know what I mean? Like, not even just in the form of like, what is my destiny? But like, no, like, what is my destiny? Like, what does my destiny mean to God that it has to be fulfilled? Like, nothing can touch me to any extent that it would change or alter or disrupt or
Mm-hmm.
cause my destiny not to be. Like nothing can do that because clearly he's kept me for a reason. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I think we kind of,
I
if you got
mean,
more, go
yeah,
ahead.
I think we can go deeper with it. Um, Personally for me, it's reassuring. Because my bad, I lost my train of thought.
It's all right. We'll edit it out if it takes more than a few seconds.
um,
It'd be like it never happened. I mean, what does it mean to you? You already said that you know, basically what I just said, like destiny, purpose. Um,
that's what I was gonna say. It's reassuring for me because, for one, as it pertains to developing a relationship with him,
mm-hmm,
it you come into like the understanding of when he means that he will protect you, like he means that.
mm-hmm,
So now you can, through the things that you're going through in life and the things that you're experiencing, you can operate with, again, the assurance of knowing, one, he's protecting me. So whatever it is I am going through while I'm seeking whatever I'm seeking,
mm-hmm.
I know he has me and he has my back.
Yeah,
So that's the one reassuring part of it. And then the other second part that makes it reassuring, because it's the confirmation of knowing that he has placed a greater purpose in
yeah,
us. So obviously that should bring us closer to him in terms of seeking him, so
yeah,
that we
yeah,
can know what it is that he has for our lives.
yeah.
But
Did you just say this?
say what?
And like, did you say anything about confidence just now?
No.
Because I feel like what you're saying too goes back to the belief, like in knowing your purpose after being brought closer to him. Like you're confident, you have more confidence. You
Yeah.
can live.
Yeah.
But yeah, my bad.
No, that's good. Cause see, I lost my train of thought earlier, but
I said
that,
what you said. You happy I
yeah,
said that?
yes. But yeah, exactly. Exactly. So personally it is reassuring. As especially when you have those feelings of you trying to figure it out,
Yeah,
and you seeing that you've come out on the other side of it. But if you can remember and know that not only has he kept you, but he is keeping you, like that's reassuring, because that gives you the room to explore him
yeah.
and develop in him and grow in him. So
Yes, that's good. That's really good. Um,
what you got for us? Sorry,
so
y'all.
the next question would be, what's what is or what's your outlook on life now as a result since realizing his hand and the effects on your life? Um,
Ooh, ooh,
so
ooh.
basically just, what's your outlook on life now? And that's for you listeners, our answers are obviously we kind of speaking to the topic and sharing our thoughts, but again, feel free to write these things down and really meditate on it and spend time with God and just what even is your outlook on life as a result of your relationship with him, realizing, how good he's been.
Mhm.
But I think for me, I mean, it definitely makes me want to, I mean, I could say repay him, but I mean, obviously, that's something that we could never repay God. But I think, I mean, if there were a form of repayment, it is like us dedicating our life, to him. It is us, um, in a sense, proving to him that, we are his, that he can't use us, or that, we will be obedient. We'll trust him, essentially. Not that we'll be perfect and have great behavior, or, that, you know, we're gonna work like slaves to just be this object to him. Like I don't think he looks at us necessarily in that way.
Mhm.
But I think just as like his children, as his prized possession, these are things that the Bible even, speaks on. Like I feel like for me, it just makes me want to. make him proud. It makes me want to, walk in my absolute best, you know. Um, and I mean, that's to say the least, specifically, again, like I mentioned, destiny already it makes me excited and eager, to really like see that with every day, not just look at it as like this thing that's not really, like
Yeah.
some people hope like, oh, that would be nice, like a fairy tale, but like, no, like this is actually a promise of his,
Yeah.
because clearly him having kept me, him having brought me through, as you put it, brought us through to the other side, like there's clearly more that we can tap into so that he not only doesn't have to do that, but so he can now use that same power to, you know, I guess just bring us to that destiny, not just bring us through a troubled time or a tough situation.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's that same power, but if we're in a space where we're not operating at our best, I mean, he's bringing us out of that. But imagine if we're in a space. This is how it has me thinking. Like, imagine if I'm in a space where I'm operating at my best. Now, what can he do with me?
Yeah.
You know.
That's exciting.
So
That's exciting.
yeah.
And I think my response is pretty
What's your
much
outlook on life now that you realize his hand has been on you this whole time?
okay. Yeah, my outlook. Um, my response is pretty wrapped up in, what you said. It definitely makes me want to serve him and again just continue to deepen like that relationship with him
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, the wanting to repay feeling is like to how can I show this ultimate like appreciation for God and like what he's done
Mm-hmm.
for me, and not only what he's done, but I mean he's upholding his word like every single day. And so by serving him and allowing him to use me, knowing that he has put a purpose, down on the inside of me, that's it does have a lot to do with just the evolvement of like who I am and seeing like the highest version of that and like operating by that.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me want to do. And I want to exemplify that like in my daily living.
Yeah.
Like I want to embody that. So,
Yeah. I think you do. I mean, now that you've realized that, I think I can tell that you've realized that. And it's, this is obviously a new conversation for us, but I still feel like it is wrapped up in something as simple as like believing. Like, how do you ever get to the point of believing, obviously having faith, but then obviously believing in you, knowing that like the faith that you have, has you here, and then believing that the faith that you have having you here has you here for a reason, and then
yeah.
trying to understand what that reason is and walk in that reason, and it's just step by step. But essentially, I think you can only get there by, more increasingly with each day, realizing like how good, God is for real, the creator, the one who gave you, the body that you take care of, that you
Yeah.
think you take care of, but really, he's impressing upon your intellect, our minds and our hearts on how to move and how to do things. So obviously we can take matters into our own hands. We can act like, we're the ones who dictate certain things. I mean, I think he does give us that freedom in a sense, but once you realize that like it's him that you'd rather um just place your trust in and your faith in, like that obviously I feel like would take you kind of to that other side of you're not just doing it in and of yourself.
Yeah.
That's not your aim, that's not your focus. And I feel like it frees you, and it does allow you to be more confident, like you said.
I'm so glad you said that. The freedom aspect.
True.
Because as you're talking, I'm just thinking even how that's important to know that
Mm-hmm.
and to remember that, because especially for me, like even in saying the statements that I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
like the part of me that wants everything to be perfect, like I know I'm a person that because I do want to improve that much, like I take it that serious,
Yeah.
I can I can get to a place where I'm like I'm nitpicking like every area. Like I have to walk a certain way, I have to talk a certain way to exemplify this in each and every like area of my life. And that can feel like a lot if you don't rest in the freedom that it brings,
Yeah.
knowing that like in him and taking it day by day, like you said.
Yeah. Knowing that your destiny is unfolding because it is. He
Yeah.
already, decided that you were chosen. And once you realize that he did choose you, I feel like you can be confident, you can trust. You can
Yeah.
walk a certain way, you can talk a certain way, you can nitpick
And know the
every little thing.
transformation will
But
come.
yeah,
Yeah.
knowing that whatever you nitpick, you ain't gotta worry about it. It's just part of being human. And you
Yeah.
can let it go. So yeah, this is I don't know, I anticipated that this would be good. So I was like, let me I had a couple of thoughts I wrote down. But so lastly, I
Mm-hmm.
think this would be a good thing to kind of close on. And this is a question, but it's a thought too. So I want you listeners, I want the people to kind of consider this, beyond this podcast ending. But how long does it take to have such a realization? So such a realization as like,
Mm.
you know, how good has God been to me? Essentially, not just how good, but like the fact that He has been good. You know what I mean? And the fact that He has caused us to not only realize, but to really feel inclined to go down the path with Him. You know what I mean? That kind of turning point, if you will. And secondly to that is like, and is it once and for all? Like, is it a once and for all thing once you've realized that? Or is it something that we kind of constantly have to maybe come back to? Or that we can always go deeper with?
Yeah. You know,
And I don't think there's a wrong or right, but maybe, I don't know.
I think we don't always articulate it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I don't know what the time frame is, but we definitely do come to a place of realizing at a certain point that it is him. And I think the more that we pay attention to that, then it doesn't have to be this thing where we kind of like forget and have to come back to it.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we can then just operate in and by. And now these things are reflected in our daily living.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because sometimes, you know,
Agree.
it the remembering is it taking a moment or two or three to know like you've been through some stuff here, but going back to the statement of like, well, you've come out of that,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, you remembering that, but I think once we attribute that credit to him, that due credit to him
Yeah.
and not us, I think we can like more so operate in that place more consistently until it is like we've embodied it.
Yeah. I agree. I do think this is not like the end all be all answer, but I do think there are times when, we spoke on seasons last episode, but it's kind of like I do think there are times when things may just be even so good, going on in our lives or around us, or, it may be the opposite, but whatever the case, we end up forgetting, not entirely, but it could just be in a moment. And it's like something might have to happen to cause us to realize or remember again. You know what I mean? And I don't think that
Mm-hmm.
that has to continue to happen or keep happening over and over, but I do think that happens sometimes, just with being human. You know what I mean? Like you get comfortable. And I feel like from that standpoint, if it doesn't have to happen that way, or if it doesn't happen that way, I do feel like once you kind of quote unquote get over that hump and you do realize there is the potential, like you said, for you to just kind of walk in that, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe in walking in that, it's not just like you get up and you know it, as much as like you kind of fighting to hold on to it.
Yeah.
So it could be the same, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it could look different just from one person to another, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think? Like,
But honestly, I will say that it's funny because I think there are smaller moments where we can recall that he has kept us, and then I think everybody kind of have has that like grand moment where they really come to the realization that they can recall this event, like this was the turning point.
everybody has the opportunity. I say everybody doesn't have it,
Yeah.
or everybody doesn't look at it the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. We have
And
the
I'm only saying that
opportunity.
because for those that, I don't know what place and space you might be in, but that's why I'm saying kind of even to consider, God's goodness so that you can start to realize it if you, maybe have been struggling to realize it, or if you already have realized it, like take that potential and walk in your purpose now,
Yeah.
Don't just realize that God has been good and just take it for granted, which we're all doing. I'm sure I am in many ways myself, but I think if we collectively kind of walk in our purpose, like it'll be a better place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but what do y'all think? How long does it take to realize God's goodness? And to me, that don't even mean to like only just think about it and like, oh, God's goodness, but even to once you know it, how long does it even take now to do what you're saying, to walk in it every day?
Well, we have we have a plethora.
We have the rest of our lives to figure that out.
You can start by listening to some of our other podcasts. Couple tips. I think that's where the discipline starts to kick in. Like you want to do those things. Like you want to be disciplined. You want to.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Okay.
It's supposed to be for them.
Go self reflect.
Because it's not all for us to, you know what I mean? But we are just sharing our thoughts. So
Yeah.
I ain't
Yeah.
trying to end your cliffhanger, but I'm trying to end the podcast at
All
this
right.
point.
All right. All right.
But nah, because it's good stuff, and we're gonna continue it. I'm saying it's good stuff because this is not just. I mean, it's about what our purpose is. I feel like it ain't good stuff because I'm saying it, or it might be good stuff because you're saying it. But this is purpose we're talking about.
Yeah.
If that ain't good, I don't know what is. So
Hmm. Well, thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys again soon.
that was great. Peace, love.